Hi, welcome to this live. The topic is the double standards, the different rules that you lived in the toxic relationship and how they still affect you. I think that this is a very vital piece of the puzzle of understanding the toxic relationship. And it is one of the things that is the hardest to, that inequality is one of the things that linger unconsciously often, but in our behavior and in our way of thinking about ourselves and about others. So I'm happy to have you here. And as usual, I will first go through a bit of theory that I have prepared, and then we will do a Q&A. And if you have any comments or want to share some experience, you're welcome to write it in the live chat. And if you're listening to this live stream afterwards, you're welcome to write in the comments. I think it will be an interesting episode. And I will also share a bit about my own experience with the different rules. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at a healthy relationship. In a healthy relationship, you have a shared responsibility. You don't have to divide it in the middle. But overall, there is a fairness in how the responsibilities are distributed. One person may be more interested in doing some parts of the mutual responsibilities or better at it. And then that's completely okay that one of the partners is responsible for the laundry, and one partner is responsible for keeping the maintenance of the car. But you support each other, and over the day, or let's say it like this, it doesn't have to be equal all of the time, because a relationship goes through different periods. And sometimes one partner may need a bit of extra support during a period. But overall, there is a fairness in that distribution of the responsibility. You're able to discuss it, and you're trying to understand each other. So the relationship or the family and the life that you are creating is a mutual project, and you're both contributing. You also have an equal say. So both parties can have their voice heard, and there is no ridiculing of their opinions or their experiences. There's no blaming or shaming if they want to share something. And there is no patterns of put downs. So they have respect for each other. In a healthy relationship, you have respect for each other's opinions and experiences. And of course, there can be some adjustments to fit the partners, but there is no pattern of inequality. Also, in a healthy relationship, there is no one is scared of retribution. So no one is scared of how the other partner will react if they don't do something, or if they don't do it the way that they had agreed on. There is no fear involved. And so the responsibilities is one part, but then another part of what makes a relationship healthy, non-toxic, is that no one has more privileges. So in a relationship, you are not only dividing the responsibilities, there is also a division of the assets, a division of time. So how much free time each partner can have on their hands, and how much money they are allowed to spend on themselves, on their hobbies, or any interests, or clothes, or so how much money they are able to use, how much time, and how much power they have. That's sort of the opposite of equal say, but how much power and control they have in the relationship. That should be equal. So then in a toxic relationship, there is not this equality. One partner, or let's say it like this, often when we're talking about a toxic relationship, we're often talking about, at least on my channel, we're talking about a relationship between one toxic partner and a healthy partner. There are also, of course, relationships between two toxic partners where there is a lot of conflict, and but that's like another topic. But so what I mean here is a relationship between a toxic partner and a healthy partner. The healthy partner is trying to do all of those things that you are doing in a healthy relationship. So they're trying to take care of their responsibilities. They're trying not to take up too much of their privileges. They're trying to listen to their partner. They're trying to make adjustments when it seems like it is necessary. But a toxic partner is not cooperating in that manner. They don't have the aim of taking their share of the responsibilities, or not taking more than their share of the privileges. And they don't have the aim of listening to their partner, taking their feelings and interests and opinions into consideration. The toxic partner is focused on themselves, what they want, what they can get out of that relationship. And what the healthy partner wants or needs, that comes not even second. Like, it's not even perhaps I will jump to this next image, because I think it symbolizes it very well. And this is an illustration that I got from this book, Why Does He Do That, from Lundy Bancroft. Because I think it symbolizes this dynamic so well. Because Lundy Bancroft, I've talked about him. So I think I will continue to talk about him. Because he worked with abusive men for 30 years. And were in contact with the families and the partners. And so his experience, what he understood from working with these men, these toxic men, were that they have this skewed image of a relationship, or rather, they have this big focus on themselves. They see their own needs or wants as very important. That's the big circle. That's what they want, and what they what would be most comfortable for them. That's that big circle, and that's very important. And their partner and any kids, they have each of them a little small circle, because in the toxic partner's mind, their needs or wants is not really very important at all. So this is how the toxic partner and the abusive partner, because I think if you have this mindset, it automatically will lead to abuse. Because how will you be able to get, like if you think that your needs and your desires is that important, and you're willing to compromise or use your partner to meet them, that's when, and use manipulation to meet your needs, that is when your behavior will automatically go into the area of abuse. So let's say some persons might have this extreme self-focus, and they're not really able to relate to other people. They're not really able to take interest in what others would want. They keep their focus on themselves, but they don't manipulate or use others. Then they're not abusive, but they also often don't have many relationships at all, because when you come into a relationship from the beginning, just focusing on yourself, not even being able to pretend that you're interested in the partner, then no one goes into a relationship with such a person. They're often on their own and a bit like maladaptive or not really good with relationships. But these toxic partners, they don't come into the relationship showing that this is what they think or what they want from a relationship. Oh, I have a cat here. See, you can see her. Ah, there you are. Okay, she's interrupting the live. But, okay, so yes, so this is like their mind or their idea of what the relationship should be like or what they want after a relationship. And to accomplish this, they use different techniques to keep the partner underneath them, to keep the relationship unequal, and to not have it be 50-50 and not have it be equal, not share the responsibilities and have more of their share of the privileges. The toxic partner gradually uses these techniques and gradually introduces this inequality. It starts off with them being, of course, we will share it equally. Of course, I will help you with this. Why would you even wonder? You're my wife. We will do it together. They pretend that they will do it equally or 50-50 or in the beginning, and then gradually they train their partner, and gradually they take more of the cake that you are supposed to share. They do this through gaslighting, so making you doubt your own ability to judge the situation. And not only that, like not only your relationship, gaslighting often targets your ability to make any judgments or assessments or understand the world or things that are going on in general. So, and this is a process. Gaslighting is a process that goes on during the relationship. It can take different, so it can sound kind and supportive, like, I know you get worried You worry too much. I know you worry so much, so let me handle that, and you won't have to worry about it. Or you get so emotional when you're like in that part of your cycle, and then you blow everything up. So telling you different reasons for why the thing that you are experiencing is not correct, or why your judgment is off. It's better if we discuss it beforehand, because you often catastrophize, so you jump directly to the worst conclusion. So, but if we talk about it beforehand, I can help you to make the proper assessment. Or it can be more, so that's a few examples of kind gaslighting, sounding supportive, but it can also be critical. You always do that. You never get it. You make things up, or angry, and so on. But gaslighting is anything attacking your ability to make any assessments. So gradually, when you are in these relationships, you start to doubt more and more your ability to understand what is going on or make decisions, because when you make decisions, it often leads to them criticizing you for it, or telling you that you should have told me this beforehand. Now everything is a mess. Because of there is so much conflict and confusion, and there is so much attack on your sense of sense of reality. You start to refer more and more to the toxic partner, and that gives them more control. It also so that also interferes with your ability to see the inequality of the relationship. And I mentioned, so I put here on the slide, blame shifting. When you bring a problem up, you want to talk about how things are unequal. Like, I don't have any time for myself during the weekends, and you always seem to disappear with your golf buddies. But I want to do something as well. Can we talk about it? And that leads to a big argument, because you just jumped him when he got home from work, and it was Friday, and he was thinking that you should do something together in the, like, have a little nice time in the evening, and you started this argument like you always do, and so blaming you for even bringing it up, or for your tone, or for the timing, or for not having any understanding for him. So shifting the blame. And Darvo is also one of these techniques that abusive partners often use to, when you challenge them or bring up a problem, they put the blame back onto you. So I think it stands for defend, accuse, reverse, victim, and offender. But it's sort of the same thing. So your voice is not heard, because when you try to bring something up, he shifts the focus back to you and onto something that you did wrong, and how you must try to do better. So it's sort of like if you have binoculars, when you look through a pair of binoculars, things get really enlarged on the other side. But so it's sort of like you and the partner is having these binoculars between you. So he is looking on you at you with his binoculars and seeing how your faults is just being really big in his view. But when you try to look back at him through the binoculars, his fault seems so small through the other lens. So that's how he wants to view the relationship. And he sort of he is so insistent on this view and sticks to his way of viewing things that you start to question if, like, it's very hard when someone is that stubborn with their way of viewing things, and you are more inclined to giving people chances, trying to understand them, empathize with them. And they are also making excuses for themselves to why they can't do this. So they never tell you straight out that there are different rules for you and for them. Or let me change that. Some of them do that later in the relationship, but often they don't say that straight out. They say that during this period, you need to be supportive. Or you are like, yeah, that's right, I go golfing with my friends every weekend, but you were the one who wanted kids. So now live with it. And that may be very unfair. He probably agreed, and or he's twisting something that you said once to mean like he may use things that you said. Let me see how to say that. Like you may have talked about something and you talked about it in a certain like, for example, I have to take a personal example. During a period in my marriage with my narcissistic ex-husband, so I think it was when I got pregnant with our first kid the last semester of med school. And then the plan was for me to be at home for a while with the kid, and he was supposed to work. And then we sort of talked about, and this was still during a period when he was playing nice. And then he said that, well, I will work and you don't have to worry at all about the economy, and you can just focus on taking care of the kid. And I said something like, well, that's what I want right now. And later on, that was the circumstances that we discussed it. But later on, he would say that, well, you agreed that you would take care of the kids. But the circumstances had now changed, and I was working full time and he was unemployed. But he used that like against me, but it was taken out of the picture when we discussed it. Okay, so that was a bit of a tangent. But to keep you in this unequal relationship, they use gaslighting, they shift the blame to you, to something you said. And they use positive reinforcement. When you take more responsibility, when you do things for them, they encourage that. And they use negative reinforcement. So when you don't take more responsibility, or when you try to demand something, they will punish you by going silent, raging, or not doing something that you agreed to. I wrote that two times. And then constant criticism. So constantly keeping that focus on you and to your behavior and to something that you said or what you didn't do right. The toxic partner does not want you to look at them and what they are doing or their behavior or the inequality. And they are creating a lot of confusion in the relationship. Because a toxic relationship goes through this, it's not like every day is not the same. There is a lot of conflict, there is a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of drama. And the toxic relationship goes through these abusive cycles. So the relationship is never, it doesn't stand still, it constantly or slowly moves through these cycles. And in the beginning, the cycles are bigger, the good periods are longer. And as the relationship moves on, after you have been together for a few years, there is more of the tension and the blow up and the abusive part of the cycle. So there is them giving you a mini love bomb, or what's called the honeymoon phase, where things seem to be good again and they are behaving kindly like they did in the beginning. But they don't want to stay in that honeymoon phase because they don't want an equal relationship. Staying in this phase and not using abuse or tension, and that would make you safe. That would make you feel good, and eventually you would start to realize what is going on, and they would have to put on that act. They would have to behave healthy. They would have to behave like taking on equal share of the responsibility, listen to you when you talk, take your feelings into consideration, and so on. So the abusive or toxic partner do not want to stay in the honeymoon phase. So inevitably, the relationship goes into this tension building phase. And this is not you, it's the toxic partner that is driving this cycle. They are withdrawing. They might be a bit annoyed with you, criticize you. They seem irritated. You feel that something is off between you, but they don't want to talk about it. And that tension period can last, it can last for weeks or longer, and then there is a conflict. So some sort of blow up that leads to the cycle resetting. The toxic partner, with a toxic partner, there is no real resolution of any conflicts. They use conflicts to get you back in line or to punish you, or because they like that ability, like they want you to know that they have that ability to explode so that you will be more careful next time. And some of them enjoy that because that's when they do the most of their abuse, verbal abuse, or the different kinds of abuse is done during this blow-up phase. There is no resolution. Even if they say, I'm sorry, that sorry only means, so let's forget it and continue like we have so far. They don't look at their behavior. and they don't want you to look at their behavior, and that's why they move into the honeymoon phase. So see, I can be good, I can be healthy, we're good, right? And you move into that phase, and that's of course what you have been hoping for, that things would go back to good, so you feel relief. And none of you, so they don't want to talk about the issues, and you don't want to talk about the issues because you don't want to disturb that honeymoon phase. You don't want to set them off again. You hope that they have finally understood that what they have been like. You hope that, okay, so now we are good. We solved that conflict. We talked about it. They said sorry. He won't do it again. And you hope that this will last. And this cycle also makes you focus on your own behavior. You don't realize that it's the toxic partner that is making the cycle turn. You think that because they are blaming you for it. So they say that you caused the argument, and they are criticizing you. They make you feel that you are not enough and that you need to do more or be more or look better or lose weight, and then they will treat you good. So you focus on yourself and anything that you could fix about yourself to not have the relationship turn tense and bad again. So you try to do better, and then you try to avoid the things that they blamed you for. If they said that, well, this conflict, it was just because you brought up this thing on a Friday evening when I wanted to relax, then you make sure not to bring an issue up with them on a Friday evening again. So there is more and more landmines, more and more things that you avoid in the relationship, and more things that you let slide, like, yeah, things are not really equal, but at least we're not fighting right now, so perhaps things will be calmer if I don't I won't bring that up, or that's not the issue. That's not really the issue. We need to work on our relationship or improving it, and so on. And then he will go back to being more invested in the relationship and doing his share. So a lot of things are behind this inequality of the toxic relationship. But at the core of it is the toxic partner who actually wants it to be unequal. And he uses different things to make you not see that inequality, and to make you lose ground, to make you avoid to put demands on him, and to give him more freedoms. And he uses excuses for himself too. So often we don't see clearly the inequality because we think that, well, he's having such a tough time at work, so they're doing some he has a lot of responsibilities, so he needs to go and do that golfing thing with his friends, because he said that he meets important people from the company there, so he really needs that. He really needs his sleep. He gets so annoyed when he's disturbed, but I am a lighter sleeper. So there are a lot of excuses that he makes for himself, and that you make for him, because when you try to make sense of his behavior, it's very hard to accept that someone hi Bright Page it's very hard to accept that someone that you love and who you think is doing their best and who loves you and who is saying like beautiful things to you and who you have a history with, and so a person that you are committed to, it's very hard to accept that they are on purpose using you. And often that's not even that's not even a thing that we have considered. If we have not woken up to this reality of abusive relationships and how common they are, that's not even an option. So when we try to look at a partner and we look at their behavior and we look at what they are doing, we don't see, oh, he is using me. It's unequal. We see he's withdrawing, he's behaving weird, he's doing this, and he says that it's important. When you are trying to make sense of it, and when you don't even have that option of thinking that they are using you, automatically you will make excuses for the partner. You don't think of it, you don't realize that it's excuses. You think that this is the only explanation I can think of. He must be depressed, or he must be under a lot of stress, or he must not understand how much I'm doing at home. He doesn't know how much job or how much energy it takes to do the things that I do, because he thinks that because I'm not working as much, a higher percentage, or because my job is of a different kind, he thinks that it's easy. So you're trying to make sense of his behavior, and he sort of helps you along by seeing himself, he might not want to see himself as a user, so he just says, he excuses it in his own mind, and he serves those excuses to you. And also he makes demands on you. When it comes to his own behavior, he has excuses for the things that he does. But when it comes to you, then he makes demands. Your excuses are not valid. Even if you had a really bad day and you're having a fever, you can't just leave the dishes. That's not an excuse. My ex-husband used to say that, he called me lazy. So he said that I was lazy, and that I was just becoming more and more lazy as time went on. So no matter how much I did or how much responsibilities I had, that was not an excuse. So when it comes to you, there is only he puts demands on you, and he has excuses for himself. He confuses the picture by the things that we talked about earlier, the blame shifting, the gaslighting, etc. And the relationship in itself is confusing. It goes through this abusive cycle, making you think that the solution is just around the corner, making you work harder for the relationship, making you invest more, making you sacrifice more, and you don't even notice what is going on. But the relationship is becoming more and more unequal as time progresses. So I will share with you an image. Perhaps some of you saw it. I think it was 6 months ago. I did this community post, and I thought it was a work of art. And it was sort of illustrating how my relationship were the last few years. So my job was, the relationship of many women that I have spoken to and been in contact with who are in a toxic relationship. And I can share just a bit about, so I worked full time when I did all the cooking and the cleaning and most of the laundry. And I took care of the kids all days except Sunday. Because Sunday he would take them a few hours to Funland and be super dad, or he would be super dad with an iPhone. So he would sit because at Funland you don't really have to interact a lot with the kids. You can sit at the table and drink some coffee or tea, and he was on his phone a lot. But then he could, like, for every now and then he could go and like play a little. They had some football games and a table, no, not table tennis. It's like something similar. And he would come home and say like how that people looked at him and admired him for being such a great dad. And but other than that, I was in charge of everything. And the only thing that he was in charge of was me, and criticizing me and making sure that I was not slacking off. So yeah, it was really, really unequal. I don't know if you recognize this, like if you see yourself in this image. It's like tragic and a bit like it's tragic, funny. It's very hard to realize, like, how did I get into this situation? Because the relationship does not start out like this, but it's a gradual process, and one of the partners has a clear goal, which is to use the other partner. And so they want the relationship to be unequal, and they are working for that. And gradually, like when I look back at that image now, I laugh at it a bit, and I think it, like, what was that me? It seems so weird that I would do, like, how did I end up like that? But when I was in it, it was normal. Like, that was normal. That was my everyday. So when we live in certain circumstances, and when we talk about these toxic relationships, it happens so gradually over years. We adapt. So we adapt to our situation. And the adaptations that we take on in these toxic relationships is that we take up less space. We think carefully before we voice any opinion. We don't, let's see. Yeah, so our voice is becoming more quiet. And so we don't naturally take up as much space as we did in the beginning. And we might try to have no needs or low needs. We try to manage without that nap that we would need, and we try to manage without his help, because it always becomes like it's such a you don't want to ask him if it's not really, really necessary. So your needs are taking up less space naturally as well, and You don't voice them, or you try to solve things without having your needs met. You do more, you gradually do more to get it taken care of. You criticize yourself for not having things in order. So the thing about, especially when we talk about housework, because the healthy partner seems to always be in charge of the housework. Housework is like, I watched once. I like documentaries, so I watched this documentary about housekeepers from, I don't know if it was Thailand or some other Asian. No, probably not Thailand. It was some Asian country anyway, and they were going abroad to be housekeepers in the Middle East. And in many of those housekeepers were treated very, very badly. They lived in the home. They were supposed to take care of the kids, and they were supposed to clean and they worked around the clock and never had any days off. And one of these ladies, she said that, well, the thing about housekeeping is that you don't see what has been done. If you look at the home, you can only see the things that you have missed. So, and like, no one can see the things that you got done during the day. But if you missed something, that's obvious. So you start to, and the toxic partner will, in many cases, criticize you for the things that you missed. But you also start to criticize yourself for not being able to be perfect and not being able to be loved, not being the thing that, like, he not being enough so that he could love you, or not being able to make the relationship work. You criticize yourself for perhaps not having enough energy, being tired, having low, like being low on energy, or like being easily annoyed with the kids. You criticize yourself for not getting everything done at work, and so on. And another adaptation that happens to us in these relationships is that we start to have a lot of anxiety and start to anticipate what might happen next. And so a lot of worry and a lot of anxiety. And we feel that we are not really that valuable because we're not being treated like we are valuable, like we are not being treated like a person who has equal value. And it's sort of like we are getting bullied in our own home with this partner who is criticizing, attacking us, betraying us, and blaming us. Gradually, we lose our sense of identity. And this sounds a little bit dark, but it's not, like, the changes are not permanent. But I'm just talking about the things that happens during the relationship. We start to feel less solid and not really sure about. We might feel less sure about what we want, or what things that we feel are important. So losing a bit of our identity and that solidness, feeling like a complete person, and we lose more of our social interactions. our relationships suffer, like outside of that toxic relationship. We don't really have time or energy to invest as much in our friendships or in other family relationships. And often the toxic partner tries to isolate us. They don't want outside, so they don't want outsiders, because your vision has now been skewed to fit them. So they don't want outsiders to lend you their vision. They don't want you to have friends coming home and see how things are and tell, or they don't want you to go over to a relative who has a healthy relationship and see how they are doing things. So in different ways, they're isolating you, but you also may not even have the energy or the interests to invest in other relationships. So you're losing those other connections. And that increases all of this. So when you lose those connections, you are even more drawn into this, because it becomes like a separate reality in that toxic relationship. It's sort of like when you live in a, like, every place has its own, like if we're talking about countries, we have different cultures, things that are okay to do, things that are like normal to do, and things that people react, like if we see some, oh, that was like not okay. So that's a bit different in every if you travel to different areas, or if you're in different families, it's a bit different. But the toxic relationship has its own culture that is like, there is a lot of difference between the surrounding culture and that toxic environment, and that's why they want that isolation. But it's sort of like if you live in a cult or a sect, and they have their own way of viewing things, and you just adapt to that. So you lose a bit of, you get adapted to what is going on inside of that little bubble. And you also lose often hobbies and interests, because so much focus is going into them. Okay, so I'm seeing that there are some comments in the live stream, and I will go through them in the Q&A. But you are welcome to keep writing. And if you didn't watch it, I'll just tell you that. So yesterday I posted this video that is talking about why you feel so strange after leaving. So if you didn't watch it, that might be a bit complementary to what we're talking about now. But I also wanted to clarify, because there was a young lady who commented under this video, and she wanted me to expand on one sentence that I mentioned there. And that was that when you come out of the toxic relationship, you might feel a bit cut off from other people, or strange, flat, or not really connected. And part of that, those feelings are that you have become adapted to living in that bubble and that toxic relationship, with all of those adaptations that we just talked about. You have you have made yourself smaller. You think that you don't bring as much value as other people, and this is unconscious. You might, like, if I ask you, do you think that you are as valuable as other people, then you will say yes. But in practice, that may not be what you are really feeling. So there is still confusion and that strange feeling going on after we leave. And part of that is that you were adapted to the toxic relationship. And you come out of the toxic relationship and those adaptations are still in place. And those adaptations were there to protect you. They kept you safe in the relationship in a way because it kept you from clashing with a toxic partner. It kept you from the worst conflicts, and it kept things working in the relationship. So when you remove yourself, those adaptations are still in place, and that's part of why you're feeling strange. But if you didn't watch it, you might want to do that later. Yeah. So when you come out of the relationship, there is a period of readaptation. So you're no longer living in that little bubble. For a while, you might want to live in another little bubble. So when you come out of the relationship, many of us self-isolate for a while, and that's different. That's not the same thing as being isolated in the toxic relationship. We do that because we are starting to understand what went on, and we need to take a step back from the world and understand what went wrong and sort of recalibrate a bit before we can start to engage with the world again. But gradually, and we're now talking about years often, we readapt to a healthy life and to start to feel like, to start to take up space and to feel valuable and to take care of ourselves and love ourselves, and so on. So reverse that process. And that process, it took a long time for you to get to that. It may have taken many years for you to get to that place where you were really adapted. And then gradually you start to readapt to a normal life and to no longer see yourself in that way and so on. So it takes time. It takes for you to be in a safe environment. And what's most important there is that the people that you allow close to you are healthy and they're not abusive or toxic or shaming you or criticizing you a lot for no reason. And distance, especially from the person that were the main abuser. So this is like one of the reasons why so many people are saying that if you can go no contact, because it speeds up the recovery. It helps you to. It's hard to get a distance from everything, that unhealthy environment and that training that were done to you when you're still in contact with the person who caused that. So we will soon go and see if there are some questions or comments, but I will just let's see, I will just share something first. Yeah, okay. So I have been out for 2 years and 3 months almost, and I have started to readapt, but I'm not 100% healed. And so I'm doing much better, but in some aspects it still shows up. And especially when it comes to this feeling valuable. So I have a friend, or let's see. Yeah, I have a friend that I think that we are becoming good friends in my real life. And so we're getting on and we're getting to know each other, and I really like her. But every time that, so she showed up like last week, and she came here, and she came to help me with, let's see, in yeah, in October I had this flat tire, or the tire exploded, so I haven't been able to use my car. And then she came over with her husband. So she has offered to come here and take a look. They will take a look at the car, and they will try on a spare tire. And she asked me, like, could we come over during the weekend? And I said, yes, like you're welcome. You can come anytime. But then they came like Friday afternoon. Yeah. Okay. She came Friday afternoon with so my daughter woke. I was taking a nap. My daughter woke me up, and she was like, "Your friend is here," and I went to the door a bit, like uh, still a bit dizzy because I had been sleeping, and my like the hall when you're supposed to come in, it was a bit of a mess, or it was a large mess because I was starting to clean and then I got tired, so I went and took a nap. And she was like, "We are outside. Can we look at the? We brought the tires." And I tried to text you, but I was asleep. So yeah, and I was feeling so ashamed, like I was sleeping in the middle of the day, and like I had a huge mess in my home. And we went out, and I took a look at the car. But then when I met her, like a few days later, I was waiting for her to criticize me, and that never happened. So it still lingers, that feeling, like if they see that, like if they see something like a vulnerability, they will know that like she won't be my friend anymore. She won't like me anymore. So that's something that I'm noticing now, that I'm really having a healthy friend. It seems like, but I can't really trust that bond yet. So it takes time to adapt, and to adapt back to no longer seeing yourself as a fair target to be criticized, and so on. And I think that part of it, of adapting back, is to catch ourselves, like when we have that feeling, when I have that anxiety. Oh, like, is she going to criticize me, or will she be a bit cold? And I know that I can tell myself that that's just the old pattern. Like, now I'm safe, it won't happen now. But so part of it is like recognizing it and putting it into words. But also I think part of it is just living in a safe environment and starting to build healthy relationships. When we are treated, where in those relationships we are treated as we have value, and they treat us with respect, and they are not trying to use us, and so on. So it's not just understanding, it's also feeling it with the body. Okay, so that was what I had to say about the unequal relationships. But I'm guessing that you, like all of you, probably have some experiences when it comes to toxic relationships and inequality. But I'm thinking that I will go through your comments, and if you have anything that you want to talk about, we will talk about it. So you're welcome to write if you have something, a question, or if you want to share some experience. Let's see. Bright Page was here, and Libby as well. And then Libby says, yeah, the double standards. You recognize those. And Bright Page asks, is it, so I think you're wondering if the toxic partner is hypocritical. Yes, I think that they are. So I think that they are faking a lot. Like, they know that they don't want to. I think that they know very well what their goal of the relationship is, because they are using so many tactics to affect you in the direction that they want to go in, and to have you doubt yourself. They're manipulating you, or they are manipulating us. So I think that they are very aware of it, and they are putting on an act, and that's, I think, being hypocritical. Let's see. And then this cog is here. I think it's the first time that you are joining a live, right? And you liked it. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, and you are. I'm happy that you are getting some clarity from this. So I like to structure things, and I think it helps to. I think it helps a lot if we get sort of a structure on what went on. It helps us to understand it. Okay, yeah. So let's see. And then this cook said, I listened as she criticized like to use plastic bags as garbage liners at my home. Then I watched her garbage pile up outside any container. I'm not really, so I don't know if I understand it fully, but you mean that it was a toxic partner and she criticized you for using some plastic bags to put your garbage in, but then she didn't even put her garbage inside of any container. Yeah, I think that's what you mean. It's so typical. They can, it's like, sometimes it's mind-boggling how they can criticize you for something, and it is so obvious that like, it's an unfair criticism. Like when my unemployed ex-husband would say that I'm getting lazier by the day when I was working full time and taking care of the kids and the laundry. And he looked serious, though. He thought I was really lazy. Yeah. But I think that it helps to, well, talking about it like this, or hearing others' stories, or realizing sometimes how silly it was, and sometimes even laughing about it, like I did with that, the image that I created of my marriage. It helps us to get a bit of a distance and to realize that it was like, that was not normal. Let's see. Sharon has a comment. Mine would say that he had to rule with iron fists, even though he would admit that it isn't fair. He would follow up by saying, it's just the way it has to be. He wouldn't have any shame about it at all. Yeah. So he was very clear about that it was going to be his way of doing things, and that's just the way it has to be. Yeah. I don't think that they... so, and then you say that he did not have any shame about it. Yeah, I think that you have to be pretty shameless to be able to do this, actually. But was he like that in the beginning, Sharon? Because many of them like reach that point eventually where they just drop the mask and they're like, this is who I am, now deal with it. But in the beginning, they are often good at the sweet talk. Let's see. Manchester Evening Blues. Okay, welcome. Toxic people take from you and feed on energy. I find there is a tipping point and no longer... Let's see. I find there's a tipping point and no longer worth whatever good you enjoyed. Oh, you mean in toxic relationships, there comes a tipping point where they cost more than they give. I think that's what you mean. Yeah, I think I think it comes earlier than we think. The tipping point when they start to gain more of the relationship and we start to do more. But many of us have, like, we don't have that way of thinking of things, like counting who did what for who, and as long as we have energy and we are feeling good enough, then I don't think that we think about it that much. So, but there is a tipping point where it really start to be challenging. Let's see. And Discock says, yes, critical hippos. You mean hypocrites? And Sharon says, not until I moved in with him. Then he tried to control everything, as well as having a bad temper and an iron fist. Oh, yeah. That's common that they start to show more of the real self after you are, after it's hard for you to leave. So when you move in together or get married or have kids. Okay, so he was controlling as well. That sounds like a really difficult relationship. Okay, I will wait and see if you write some more comments. So next week we had I don't know if you voted in the poll last weekend which videos I was going to do, but so we decided on the how to leave narcissist when you have no money. And then a lot of people also voted for the things that no one tell you about life after having left a toxic person. So both of those videos will be coming next week. And I think that this week was also a lot about leaving. So it's a bit of a theme for these 2 weeks. And next Thursday, we may talk a bit about leaving on the live stream. because there are some there are some women in the community who want to leave but can't. So I think we will talk about it in the live as well. Let's see. And Libby says, yes, thank you. How to live with little money or many children. Yes. So I will cover that topic as detailed as I can. So it may be a bit of a long video. We'll see. But I have been preparing. So I will, that video will be coming on Monday, I think. And then we can talk about it in the live. Let's see. And this cook says, oh, you mean the hypocrites? Sometimes I get tripped up on the English, so I have to ask it. Let's see. Manchester Evening Blue says, angry people will always find a way to blame their anger on you. Good enough to admit they have anger issues, but it's still your fault. Yeah. Yes. They like to admit that they have anger issues, but I think that they use it as an excuse. Like, I can't be... oh, yeah, you can go, Bright Page. I think that it's a common excuse. Like, I have anger management issues. I can't be held accountable for what I do when I'm angry. I just can't. I can't handle myself when I get angry. And then, yeah, it's your fault if you triggered their anger. It's your fault. And right, you mean abuser hypocrites? Yeah, yes, I understood that too. But thank you for clarifying. Okay, so let's see. And Bright, you said something more, but you were supposed to pick up the kids. Everybody hit the like or hype so this content make wider rounds. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you if you do that. Let's see. Yes, angry people are always angry, like the Hulk. Like the Hulk. Yes. Yeah. They are always angry. It's like anything that you give to them, like it only lasts a bit, and then their anger comes out again. And I think they also use anger. So many of these persons who are using anger and who are saying that they have anger management issues and so on, they don't let out their anger like they can handle their anger. They decide when they are letting it come out. And I think that they are also using their anger as a tool to scare people, to keep themselves in control. So, and I think part of their anger, and when they direct anger at you, is because they feel entitled to, like, you should listen to them, you should not question them, you should do things for them, they should be allowed to have more freedom and to do what they want and so on. And when that belief is questioned, they get angry at you as a way to rage you back into your place. So think about it a bit. If you feel that applies for like if it fits with your experience. When someone is angry, we get scared and we draw back a bit, and so I think it's a power tool. Let's see. And this called, you are sending very much love and respect for beautiful survivors. Yeah, that's beautiful. I think it's, I'm really happy. I'm really grateful for every one of you and for the community. And I see that you are supporting each other in the comments and sharing experiences. And yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, let's see. And Libby says, like the Hulk, they're always looking for things to criticize or be mad at. Yeah. Yes. So if I can talk a bit about Lundy Bancroft again, because many of the men that he worked with had anger, or they said that they had issues with their anger. And he would question them. So in his book, he writes, for example, that he had an abusive man who he had to come to his group, and he told him about an incident where he had, I think, pushed his wife to the ground or something like that because he was so angry. So he told this story about how he had pushed her because he was so angry. And Lundy Bancroft asked him, so if you were that angry, why did you not kick her as well when she was on the ground? And the guy answered, well, no, I would never do that. So, and Lundy Bancroft says that he discovered this pattern over and over, that the abusers, like, they blame their anger, but they only, they don't lose control. They have like limits that they have decided for themselves. Like, I would never kick her, or I would never hit her in the face, or I would never, or some never hit you, because that's not what they, like, that's a limit they abuse in other ways. So they don't lose control. They say that I did that because I lost control. But if you really lose control and you're not responsible for what you're doing, you would, like, it did not fit the narrative. And then he also said that many of them planned that now I will let loose and I will let my anger, like, I will be angry and I will destroy things or say things. So it was not, they pretend to be out of control, to have an excuse to do those things, but they are not really out of control. Let's see. And Libby says, like, you have to work hard to find things to be constantly pissed off about. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. But I think that when you are pissed off about things, that keeps you from introspecting. I noticed that many of these the toxic people, or like, they have narcissistic traits, they are like, they really like conspiracy theories, and they really like to get upset about things that are going on in the world. And that keeps their focus. I think it, like, focusing on something else and be really upset about it, it keeps you from taking responsibility yourself. So yeah, Yeah, and Manchester Evening Blues, you agree, anger is a weapon. And Libby also agrees. Let's see, anger as a tool to make people scared or compliant. What a great insight. Yeah, you're welcome. And Bright Page also, you also think that's how it is. Let's see. I know a gal whose husband would never threaten her safety unless she spoke about separating, and then it was not so veiled threats against her life. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So the same thing happened to me. Perhaps some of you know my story, but I was not physically abused until 14 years into the relationship when I wanted to separate. And a minute later, he tried to, or he took a knife and had it against my stomach. So that was really shocking. And he wanted to harm me. And let's see, another book. I think like both of these books, I will make book reviews and put them on the channel because I think they are so good. So this one you can find actually on YouTube, like a free audio version. And I also put links in the description and for this one as well. But Jane Monckton Smith, and I did a video about her 8-stage timeline. And I think it's called Coercive Control, the 8 stages. But she describes, and she's not the only one who says this, but wanting to separate is that's the most dangerous thing you can do when you're in an abusive or controlling relationship. And you may not even know that you are in an abusive relationship. We think of abuse as being physical abuse, but control, like a partner trying to control you and trying to make decisions for you or using you, that's also a high-risk situation. And the most dangerous moment is when you're wanting to separate, or the period around separation. But Jane Monckton Smith talks about how a control. So she has studied coercive control, and she's a former police officer, and then she is a professor, and she has written this book, and I think some other book, but she has looked into several relationships that ended in homicide, so ended in the partner being killed. And in all of those relationships, she found coercive control to be going on. And coercive control, she says, it's actually like an umbrella term for anything that the partner is doing to trap you in the relationship. If they are isolating you, if they are financially abusing you, so taking control of the finances, and of course wanting to control things, how things are going on in the relationship, and training you to adapt to that. But these relationships can escalate and become physically abusive when there is talk about separation, or when the healthy partner is trying to distance themselves, or trying to make starting to take back ground or starting to take back a bit of control over themselves, that can also escalate the toxic partner or the controller. And I think when it comes to threats against someone's life, I think we should take it seriously always. Like someone who says that is thinking about it. And Jane Mockton-Smith says that like if the partner is talking about even suicide, like harming themselves, that should be interpreted as a threat of homicide, because if a person is that upset over losing the relation or potentially losing the relationship, that they're willing to harm themselves, then it's not very far-fetched that they would harm the partner. And some of these homicides is like sometimes it's it's called extended suicide homicide, or so it's threats and escalation when talking about separation is unfortunately common. Let's see, a Bright page, you share that she thought all the more reason because he's not thinking clearly, obviously. But she was too scared to leave just in case. Oh, you mean that now I should really separate because he's not thinking clearly. But she was too scared to leave anyway. Yeah. It's really scary to try to leave someone who does this. And I think that they also, I think that when they say things like that, if you leave, I will harm you, or if you leave, I will make it hell for you. They are saying those things. Like the goal is to keep you in the relationship. But if you insist and leave, you don't really know how far they will go. So if a partner has threatened with these things, you should never tell them that you're leaving. You need to prepare so that you leave without them knowing, or that you separate without them knowing, and ask. And it's best to ask for some safety advice from people who know, like when you can discuss your situation, the domestic violence hotlines or so on. They also have some of the women's shelter hotlines, they have experience with doing these danger assessment scales. Like they're not 100%, because again, as Jane Mockton-Smith says, that some of the people who were murdered by their partner, like there were no or there were very few danger signals, but the more of those signs that are present, the higher the risk. So it's good to reach out and to discuss your situation and to get help. It's very scary to leave one of these partners. Let's see. This cook says, she would say, I guess I'm going to have to throw a tantrum to get what she wanted. Oh, that sounds like a toddler. But oh, you mean that she said that to you, or she admitted that that's how she thought about like other people? Yeah, I've also heard toxic people say, like they admit that they do this. So I will share a story about a toxic woman that I know. When So where she lived, she was renting a place, and when she wanted some of the like machines inside the home to be exchanged, like she wanted things fixed in the home, and when you're renting, oh, let's see, many of you are from the US, but here in Sweden you are often renting apartments from like a bigger company. I don't really know how your system is, but there you have to like talk to not the landlord, it's like a person who is like fixing the maintenance things and so on. And they come and have a look and try to. But she would call him, and she said to me that whenever I was nice, I never got what I wanted. So I always had to rage at him and put him down and so on. And then he would help me. So if I was nice, I did not get help. But if I was horrible to him, he would help me. And what did she mean by help? Well, she meant that then he would comply. Then he would give her what she called to get. So she had decided what she wanted, and he was not giving it to her, and then she had to abuse him, and then he complied. Let's see. And Bright Page says, wow, oh, you mean the the person who admitted that they did a tantrum. Let's see. Louis says, for real. Oh my, they had their own limits of how far they'd abuse. Yes. Yes, they had their own limits. So I like this book is really good. I got a lot of insights from this book, and I'm not actually finished. Let's see, I have like 70 pages left. It's a big book. Yes, they had their own limits for how far they would take the abuse. It's really like, yeah, it's really scary when you think, or really disturbing when you think about it, because it's much easier or it's much less disturbing to think that, well, they are just unable to handle their feelings. They don't have any self-reflection and so on. But I think that I am sure that there is more, like there is more calculation going on with the persons who are treating their partners like this. Because what we're actually saying when we are, it's sort of like we're giving them, not we, but people who are talking about narcissists and they don't have any insights in it's like it's their personality disorder is making them do that. How do they know that that's what is really going on inside of their minds? Either you are like working with people who have these diagnoses and you're making a theory by yourself, or you're asking them, so why are you doing this? And then they will tell you, well, what do you mean? they will serve you their excuses. So how can you really know what is going on? But what Lundy Bancroft did, and he says that, well, many of the people, or the men that he worked with who were abusers, they did not have, like, there were a percentage of them that had personality disorder diagnosis, but most of them did not have this diagnosis. But what he did was that he did not buy into what their explanations. he challenged them and he compared many of these men. And as I said, he worked with them and their families over 30 years. And he also compared what the abusive man would say, like his story and his explanation. And then he would call the partner and get her side of the story. And it almost like it never matched because the abuser was lying. And then when he confronted him, like they were lying knowingly. So it's a good book, and it confirms what I think about it. Let's see. Yeah, laughing at them is so healing. Yeah. Yes, I think so too. It's not easy to do in the beginning, but when you're, or if you're able to laugh at laugh at them, it helps to. I think it's healing. It helps us to get some, like, put more distance between us and them, and to get things into perspective, because it is ridiculous. So and Libby, you says it's scary, and now you mean, yeah, you mean the limits for the abuse, perhaps, or yeah, it is disturbing. Let's see, Manchester Evening Blues, you say, in their control, is their control fundamentally based on insecurity, or it's all too complex because I felt jealousy and fear? If the controlling partner is trying to control because of insecurity, I don't know. I have to think about it. um, and I think there is like different theories as well for why they are behaving the way that they do. When we're talking about coercive control, that's sort of a new concept. So I think it's less than 20 years since that term was coined, or since the professionals started to talk about it and notice these patterns. Yeah, but what you noticed, it is complex. And then you noticed jealousy and fear. Yeah, yes. I don't have the answer, but that's an important question. Let's see. And Libby, you say, I feel like abusive people sometimes talk in proxies, like when they say, we should do the dishes, and then they mean you. I wonder if this can apply to the separation threats like that. You mean if they say that I will kill myself, but they mean that they will kill you as well? Yeah, that's interesting. They might, because they have a sense of, like, they have a sense of ownership over you. Um, and if you try to leave part of their, like, they feel a threat to their identity and to the way that they have organized their life. Uh, and I don't like, they don't really take your feelings into consideration. Like, why do you want to separate? They feel more enraged about you not giving them what, like, this, like, this book, Jane Monckton Smith, she did interviews with men, or mostly men. There were also some women who had killed their partners, but that's less common. But she did interviews with the perpetrators, the men who had committed the crimes, and she noticed a common pattern in them, that they were talking about themselves, how the separation would affect me. She didn't even think about me. She was destroying my life, and so on. So the focus was on them. And she also, like, she even describes how one of the men, so he was sitting in prison. He was in prison because he had stabbed his wife to death. And he was like that. This sounds horrible, but he was like an average guy. I think, like, he had a job, and I think they lived in the UK. Like, he was not physically violent. But then his wife wanted to separate, and he planned it, so he waited outside of her. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm triggering someone, but let's see. He had committed that crime, and then he was in prison. And when she talked with him, he was angry about how his kids would not come to visit him. And they would not come to support him, or, like, his kids were treating him badly. And there was no consideration for the kids. Like, he had robbed them of their mother, but that, like, he did not even talk about that. He only talked about how things affected himself. So yeah, I think you might be right, Libby. Like, they're so focused on themselves, and you are just like, it's like you are not even a person. You are just part of their identity, or they have a sense of ownership over you. And I think that's also why they're trying to control you. Let's see. And then this Cook says, groomed or mind controlled to accept coercive control as normal. So grateful for new clarity and abilities. Okay, so you were groomed, and you were, like, you were manipulated, and you were targeted by coercive control. And yes, it feels normal. You get adapted to it over a long time, and we don't really see what is going on. Often we don't really see the full extent of what is going on until we have left. And you are out of the relationship. I'm just assuming from how you wrote. And yeah, you're grateful for new clarity and abilities. That's good. I think it's like, after I left, and it took me a year and a half before I started to feel a little bit like if I was really not doing good after a separation. But a year and a half after, I started to feel happy again, and it felt like I did not realize how much I was sacrificing when I was in that relationship, because life had become so hard, and it was such a struggle and painful, and I wasn't happy in the last few years. So when that started to return, it was like a surprise. I didn't know that, like I had forgotten how it was like. So it is a gift when you come out and start to do better. And let's see. And Bright Page says, I was worried for my friend when she said that. She knows to get herself out with her kids, but she is frightened that might be too hard and trying could be too risky. Yeah. So yes, I understand that you're worried about her. And yeah, I understand that she is afraid to leave as well. Often we think that, like, it feels like leaving is scary and we don't really know what will happen or what they will do. A Bright Page, I actually have, I think I told you about this one before, but I did a live stream talking about, like, if you have kids, should you stay or should you leave, where I share a bit about how my thought process went. So leaving is scary, and of course it can feel safer to stay, but staying is also actually a risk. You're not automatically safe because you stay, even if, like, you are, the risk may not come immediately because they are still abusive, and many of them escalate the abuse as time goes on. And when you are staying, you're gradually having less energy and your health may be affected, and so on. So it's not an easy decision. And I understand that you're worried for your friend. You cannot make that decision for her. And I think that you are just there, and that you are her friend, and that you are, in a way, like a connection to the outside world. That's really important. And my advice would be to listen to her if she wants to talk to you, but don't try to pressure her to take the decision, because then she might not open up. Or it's hard. It's hard, Bright Page, but it's a good thing that you are there for her. Let's see. And you say, oh, Sweden, you've been in Gothenburg as a boy. Okay. I used to live in Gothenburg. It's like, yes, on the southwest coast of Sweden. It's beautiful in the summers. In the winters, there is a lot of rain in Gothenburg. It's windy because it's close to the ocean. Yeah, and I was, and if you live in Manchester, I actually went there, but that was some years ago. Yeah, I can't tell you where I live now, but it's colder. It's colder than Gothenburg. If you have seen a few of my videos lately, you saw the snow. It's cold. Let's see. And Libby says, that's so funny. She turned the tables on him with abuse. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So she to get what she, yeah, I think she got like a new washing machine. And They're not emotional, they are transactional. Yes. They're not really interested in connecting emotionally. They're interested in what they can get from you or what you can do for them. And I think that they because I grew up in a narcissistic family system, and then I got into this long-term narcissistic relationship. And I also, looking back, I realized that I also had a few friends that, during different periods, that had similar traits. So I have been thinking or remembering things that they said or did and so on. Let's see, what was the point I was trying to make? Yeah. So in the beginning, I think that they invest in you. They love bomb you, and they do things for you. And then it's your turn. And that debt, it's never ending. You will always owe them in their mind. You will always owe them more. Let's see. And Bright Page says, yes, it seems so calculated. I have to get, his name is Landy Bancroft. I have a link in the description, but you can also listen to it on YouTube for free as an audio version. But it's a good book. Let's see. Sorry. Jealousy and fear in them. Yes, they are jealous. And I think that they are fearful of, yes, they are fearful of getting exposed. They are fearful of losing, being losers or not getting what they want. But how much, what is the basic driving force underneath it all? I don't, some say that narcissists are very driven by shame, and I don't really agree. But from what I've seen, I don't think that's what is driving everything. But perhaps some of it, let's move on. It's getting too deep. Let's see. Ridiculous is the spell used in Harry Potter against the threat of the scary boggart. Best keep it in one's mind, though, as out loud, it will likely infuriate or escalate them. Yeah, got to protect one's peace. Yes. Yeah, that's a really good comparison. I think many of you have read Harry Potter, but the scary boggart comes out of the locker, and then they have to point the wand at it and say ridiculous, and they have to laugh at it, and then it will eventually, if they're scared of it, it will only grow bigger and scarier. But if they laugh at the boggart, then it will shrink and disappear. Yeah, but I would not say it out. I agree. Don't say it to them. Let's see. And then you say, yes, thank you. I am out. That's good. And you're still healing. That's good. Let's see. Life finds a way. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think that life finds a way. That's beautiful. Toxic people like to contain life. They want to make the decisions, and they have a very hard time to when things happen, like life happens. It's a bit chaotic and creative and and like sometimes I feel a bit sorry for the toxic people because they are so busy with they're trying to get what they want, and they always seem to want more, and they try to control things, and they are missing the beautiful things in life. It's a shame. Let's see. You lost much? You mean that you lost much in the relationship? Oh, it can't rain more than Manchester. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. No, I probably can't. Let's see. And Bright Page says, I'm taking it all in a bit. You're a bit distracted. You're giving a kid a bath and you're making dinner. Bright Page. Yeah, you are super mom. Let's see. You've heard of his book on other channels. I will pass it to my friend. Thanks. Yeah, okay. Yes, if she's open to reading it, it's a good book. But so if you would give her the book, like a tip, because when I was in the relationship still, and I was trying to find a solution for the breakdown in my marriage, I did read a lot, and I did come across some, like so I started to read a book that might have helped me to make sense of the situation, but so the book was talking about, I was actually reading about burnout in women, and then it was talking about how the partner, often the partner is not doing his share. And then I got so pained and triggered by the book, so I couldn't finish it because I was like inside of this paradigm, or I viewed the relationship a certain way, or I thought that my husband loved me, he's not using me. And then I started to read this book that sort of opened up a little, like another view on things. And that is really painful. So it creates cognitive dissonance, and it created a lot of anxiety, and I couldn't deal with it. So I put that book to the side. So I just, like, if you give her a book, don't ask then, how was the book? Because she might be she has to take it in her own time. Just a tip. I understand that you want to help her. I wish that she will be free and be safe. Yeah, you probably got it. You got it, Bright Page. You know, you know what it's like. You know your friend best. Let's see. And Libby says, "Scary Bogart. I have found if I laugh it off or joke about it, it helps. Or grumble like sarcastically mirroring the tone. You mean that you do that to your husband or in your mind? I'm not sure which one. What I did like the last year, because my husband would pick at me when he was home. He would criticize me and tell me how to do things and how things like it was like a long monologue, and I had so at this point I had seen through him, but I was afraid to leave, just like your friend Bright Page. And then he would come, like he would be home. I was fixing something, dinner or doing things at home, and he would like stand over me and nag or have a monologue or tell me like you are lazy, or then I would just listen like yeah, or but then I would say in my mind, so if I'm lazy, then what are you? And I would start to like in my mind talk back to him and pretend that I was listening, but in my mind I would argue back like you are doing all of these things. And so if I would if I would use the same measuring stick that you're using for me, then you would really fall short. And that helped me to keep that to not let his verbal abuse get to me. Let's see. Bright Page says, I've heard some people want connection with others in a moment and others want control. I'm not sure what you mean, but I guess you mean that some people want connection with others and others will prioritize having control. Yeah. I think that you can't have both at the same time, because when you are deciding that you should have control, you're not really taking in the other, like you're not really connecting with the other partner, depending of course on depending a bit on the situation. Let's see. Okay. And this cook says, you lost family, but also, yes, life finds a way. Yeah, that's painful. It's painful to lose people. Yeah, I lost family. Oh, sorry. My throat is itching. Just a second. Oh. I have asthma and I'm having a bit of a cold again, so it's starting to itch in my throat. I don't want I don't want that to be on the video. Let's see if it calms down. Oh, yeah, it's painful to lose family. Sometimes we lose it because of the smear campaign, or we lose contact during the relationship and things don't really go back to normal. And sometimes we remove ourselves because we realize that or certain family members were toxic and Yeah, sometimes we have to cut off contact with people who are in contact with the toxic persons. So yeah, it's painful. I have done it myself. But I think that you should be proud to be a cycle breaker, Discog. It takes time to rebuild that, like the new healthy life that we want. But it will be a life free of toxicity. So I think that it will. We don't want to lose family, but sometimes we don't have a choice. Let's see. Libby says, if I laugh it off, sometimes he drops it or makes a joke. Oh, you mean that you try to turn like he does something, he starts an argument or criticize you, and then you turn it into a joke. That's good. Like if it works for you, that's good. Mine would give me the I don't know what it's called, like the death stare. He would not be happy if I laughed at him. Let's see. Oh yes, when you can laugh about it, you are healing. I'm past it enough. I can fantasize back and change the horrible incidents. It takes time, practice, and peace. We get there in our own way. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Okay. So I think we talked about the inequality and the different roles, and we laughed a bit as well. So I think that I might end the live stream here. I was happy to have you all, and I do this every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time or 10 p.m. Central European Time. So when you have the ability, you're welcome to check in. And I feel that my throat is starting to itch again, so I have to end it. It's a bit. I'm not used to talking so long by myself, but I really enjoy it, spending some time with you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, everyone, and have a good evening or afternoon. Bye.